morning, everyone. Welcome back to Immediate Movie Reactions. I am here after seeing Godzilla -1, and I will be honest that I saw it in the 4DX. So that is going to change some of my opinion of this movie, because obviously the roller coaster ride that you go on when you see this movie and the effects that are part of it definitely added to my enjoyment. Overall, I love this movie. I really, really liked it. It is definitely not a MonsterVerse movie. This is a Japanese movie. And in many ways, I think it's even more of a World War II movie than it is a Godzilla movie. Godzilla plays a obviously large role in this. However, it's a story about a man named Koichi Shinishima, and he was a kamikaze pilot who basically failed at his job and is now living with the repercussions. And it goes through kind of the whole society of Japan and how are they recovering from the war? What are they doing? And as they're trying to recover, then this beast comes along and just wrecks shit, right? It just makes it even worse. And that's kind of what I loved about this, even though growing up, I would say that next to Star Wars, Godzilla was probably my top franchise. I loved every bit of it. I was old enough that I was able to watch the cartoon. Godzuki was, my hero more than freaking Scrappy-Doo. I loved everything about Godzilla. I've seen almost all of them, even the bad kind of Power Ranger ones that are almost Pacific Rim. I've just seen a bunch of them. I do enjoy the MonsterVerse, but this was great to see it go back to what Godzilla is really about. And by the way, what the hell? Godzilla's 70 years old at this point, but I guess it makes sense with Disney also hitting 100. Like, I can't believe that that's where we are in our entertainment society. But anyway, I'm digressing a little bit here. Koichi is a failed kamikaze pilot who is coming back to Tokyo and has to deal with people looking at him as a failure, as someone who abandoned his duty. And that is the metaphor. That's the idea for, what did the Japanese government do? Did they fail the people? They talk about the failed supply lines. They talk about the lack of armor and tanks and planes that were quickly made and didn't have ejection seats, right? It's just, that was, to me, the most fascinating part of this movie. I think where most Godzilla movies fail is if they try to put too much time into the people, because honestly, it's Godzilla, it's a monster movie, you want a monster. Who the hell cares about the freaking people? But in this, it is about the people. It's about how they recover. It's about how they react. I think that we spend a lot of time with them and we see the really kind of visceral reactions and what is happening after Godzilla has come in and destroyed part of the city. How are they rebuilding? How are they looking for their friends and family? And that was absolutely fascinating. I think that the scenes where Godzilla is attacking, the way that it's all structured and put together, that at one point he's got a train in his mouth and you see people dangling from it, and the camera work is just such that you're there, you're seeing it. I do wish that I had seen this. I don't know if 4DX was the perfect way to see this. I think that IMAX probably would have been amazing. But those shots were really dynamic, and seeing the people scramble, the way they must have, the work to coordinate that many extras and running and, obviously, reacting to the CGI or whatever they're reacting to while Godzilla's not there. It's absolutely fantastic. And I love to see the human story in this. Godzilla is a monster. Godzilla is a beast. He's not the hero in this. He's not coming to defeat King Ghidorah. He's not coming to defeat Mechagodzilla or Rodan or any of those, right? There's no Wonder Twins with a moth creature, right? This is just a monster who has come out of the ocean, you see it first as a smaller creature, and you see just the devastating, it's almost like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, as it's just tearing people apart. Not super bloody, but definitely more violent than we see. Whereas, in the other movies, when Godzilla's destroying the cities, it's very cartoony. It's very much kind of a, you don't feel it as much. But in this, you see when people get stepped on, you see when ships are being destroyed. It's something that you're seeing the people's reactions more, you're feeling it a little bit more. And because you, at least for me, know and care a little bit more about the characters, it makes more of a difference when they're in peril, when they're in danger. And so this movie, like I said, is about Godzilla as a monster. The creature itself is visceral, it's brutal. It is kind of fat Godzilla again, which I don't know that I necessarily needed, but it didn't look like MonsterVerse. And, obviously 11 is not there. So this is a completely different take on the monster, going back to the original movie. And I think there's actually some black and white footage. There's a part where they're showing footage from the original movie in it. I think that's fantastic. And it's about the people of Japan. Godzilla has always been a metaphor for nuclear weaponry and punishment for World War II. And so, in this, you see the people coming together and saying, hey, we can't, because the U.S. and the Soviets have their thing, so we can't get them involved. And our government is too afraid of the U.S. and the Soviets, so they're not going to help us. Us as the people have to come together. And they do. It leads to a final sort of climactic scene that is perhaps a little predictable, but still it's exactly what you would want when you think that there's this monster that just can't be destroyed, right? So how are you going to do it? And science, I guess, is the answer. As much as you can have science with a freaking Godzilla movie, right? The one thing or a couple things I would say about the monster, right? As I said, it's kind of fat Godzilla. It walks around with this stupid grin on its face. I'm sorry. It looked a little bit silly. And we're in 2023. We have seen, if anything, we get from the MonsterVerse, and even, oh my God, I hate to say this, going all the way back to the Matthew Broderick and Jean Reno one, we can see better animation. And this, from the waist down, was cool. The way the tail moved and all that was awesome. However, it's just like this stiff upper body that doesn't really move like an actual animal or a real life creature. When it's swimming through the water and its stupid face is sort of, I'm sorry, I'm really, when it's popping up out of the water, it kind of looks a little bit silly. I would also say that when it activates in here, it calls it its heat ray, I think is what they call it. There's sort of this Gundam anime style, is all the armor plating, and then it activates, and it is absolutely brutal and devastating when it does activate, and you see it like a nuclear weapon. And again, back to that metaphor of, this is Godzilla is nuclear weaponry coming to punish the people of Japan. But that I don't think was necessary for if they're trying to make this a real looking creature. I did love the music. This goes back, if you grew up with the Tohoi Godzilla movies, the dun 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 dun, that's there, and it's not even like updated for 2023. It is the original sounds, the original score. It's absolutely fantastic. Laughed out loud. It was great. So this is one that I think that we would definitely recommend if you are a Godzilla fan. So see it, stream it, or skip it. If you're a Godzilla fan, I think this is an absolute must. You should see this movie. If you're a World War II movie fan, I think this presents enough interesting ideas, political drama, talking about the reparations after the war. I mean, that's all absolutely fantastic. And the people, it's also very anime. Expect a lot of Japanese yelling. It definitely sounded like you're watching an anime and people are yelling back and forth at each other as this is all so dramatic. So if you fit into those categories, I would say absolutely see it. Otherwise, if it comes out and you have an interest, it's worth streaming. I would say, I saw it in 4DX. There was a bit, especially I have some vertigo, so there's a lot of time on ships and the thing kind of moving around and it's just kind of doing this thing, and I didn't necessarily need that. But the sprays of water, the actual battle scenes, like that's where it came into play. It was fantastic. But I think that where we would really want to see this would be in an IMAX. I think that would be the preferable format for that. Maybe I'll see if I can see it again. I don't know. There's a lot of movies out, so we'll see. So yeah, obviously, if you're a fan, see it. Otherwise, who knows? Maybe it's not for you, and that's fine. So I will see you after the next movie. I appreciate everyone. Thank you very much.